Okay. Welcome, everyone. It's so nice to see you. We know there's always so many competing priorities this time of year in particular as we get so busy. As I was reminded, we are closing out week 10 of the semester, which is pretty unreal. I don't quite know where the time goes, and we're already entering November in just a few days. So again, thank you for choosing to spend your time with us this evening. We are also recording this session and know that it will be used in the future for other purposes. And we're grateful for our amazing alumni, Katie, who we will do a more formal introduction of in a little bit, but for her volunteering her time tonight to talk to us about a really important topic. So I'm Julie Dorsey, and I am the current chair of the Department of Occupational Therapy and a really proud alumni of our program. Katie was in one of my first cohorts of students when I started teaching, so she'll always hold a special place in my heart of bearing with me in those early years of teaching, and it's amazing to see her in her career now. So this alumni speaker series is a fantastic opportunity for us to engage our current students with our alumni community and see the innovative and really amazing things that they're doing in their careers, some of which are really beyond entry-level practice. So in our curriculum, we prepare you for entry-level practice. So it's amazing that we get to now zoom them in with these great capabilities and from anywhere that they might be in the country or even in the world, to be able to share more about these innovative and advanced areas of practice for you to learn as future professionals, different pathways. And Katie's topic tonight really spans all disciplines and all, touches on anyone in the healthcare professions. So we're excited for her to talk about this. And I also want to give my thanks to Emma and Julia, who really, without their vision, almost a year ago now, in saying that they wanted to see things like this, right? Of how do we learn about more advanced areas or innovative areas kind of beyond entry level? They started asking these questions and had this lovely vision to, bring the content to our students and our community, which really merged with our vision of deepening our alumni connections. And here we are in the second annual Alumni Speaker Series, in the second session, and in year 2. And it's really been amazing to watch it grow and develop over, 10 months or so. So, thank you to them. And they're a great testament to show how students can bring ideas forward and really turn it into something like a knowledge sharing and community building event. So, and they have been supported wonderfully by Jenna Heffron. And she brought her vision to this as well, and truly a team effort. So, that is my formal piece. I'm going to turn it over to Emma. You're going to be giving the accessibility information. Great. And then Emma will introduce Katie after that. Thanks, Emma.
Yeah, hi. Thanks so much for everyone for being here tonight. We really appreciate your time. I'll start us off with some access info real fast. So for closed captioning in our live transcript, you're going to click on CC live transcript at the bottom of your Zoom window next to reactions. And you'll have 2 options. The first one is show subtitle, which will make captioning appear at the bottom of the screen. And to turn off those closed captions, you'll click on CC live transcript again and then hide subtitle. If you want to view the full transcript, you'll click view full transcript, and that'll make the live transcript appear on the side of the Zoom window. And if you want to simultaneously view that full transcript in the chat feature, just go to the top of the live transcript window and click on the downward facing caret, aka Karen, and then pop out. And then you can move your live transcript anywhere on your screen. The chat is at the bottom of the Zoom window next to the participants button. So similar to the live transcript, if you click on that chat button, the caret at the top of the chat window, you can choose to pop out the chat and move that wherever as well. Please feel free to use the chat in whichever way feels most comfortable. You can enter questions, comments, anything like that. And during the question and answer period, we'll also field questions from the audience through the chat, audio, and video. So whatever way feels the most comfortable for you to engage in, that's how we invite you to do so. This session will be recorded tonight and we'll be posting that on the Canvas site. And then we're also working on getting these up on YouTube. So if for any reason you don't have access to the Canvas site, please feel free to email myself or anyone else on the planning committee and we will make sure we get you that recording. But on to the exciting stuff, Katie Cooper. So Katie Cooper is an occupational therapist who graduated from IC in 2008. She's worked in a variety of settings, both in the US and internationally, and she currently works with the geriatric population in a private practice providing Medicare Part B therapy services using a house calls model. In addition to being a treating clinician, she's a quality assurance supervisor for her team and assists with clinical and documentation training. After suffering from burnout in October 2020, Katie enrolled in a health coaching program to learn more about the strategies she uses to keep her life healthy and balanced. As she finishes up her health coach certification, Katie is launching a work-life balance group coaching program to help fellow clinicians fight burnout, improve productivity, and find enjoyment in their lives. She is passionate about fighting burnout that is prevalent in the healthcare industry, now exacerbated by the ongoing global pandemic, which I'm sure we're all feeling the effects of. And Katie's mission is to help healthcare workers find their passion and love for their career while also living a happy, balanced life. So thank you again so much for being here, Katie. We're so excited to hear what you have to say, and I will turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm going to share my presentation here with you guys. All right. So can you see my screen? Yes. Okay, good. Let's see if I can get this going here. Start. Okay. So yeah, so I am Katie. I've been an OT for 13 years. Graduated from IC a long time ago, feels like. And, you know, over the course of my career, I've hit different points where, you know, things have become challenging. I felt burnt out. And most recently that occurred in October of last year. When I felt burnt out, I'll tell you, I felt anxiety, fatigue. I had no energy. I really didn't feel like I could do any of my roles very well. I'm a mom of 2 girls. You can see there, Addie and Cora. So they keep me busy, and I really felt like I wasn't doing a great job with them. I wasn't being a great wife to my poor husband, not a great OT, and not a great leader for my team. Which is not something I enjoy. I want to be my best. And I really just didn't feel well in general. I can't really pinpoint what that was. I just didn't feel great. So after my first daughter was born, I actually hired a health coach to get my health back on track because I felt similarly then. No energy, couldn't get rid of the baby weight, just didn't feel myself. And I still think of those conversations I had with my health coach. It has stuck with me for 4 years now. And a health coach is someone who partners with their client to achieve health and wellness goals. It's a very client-centered process, like as an OT, kind of fits perfectly. And we use a very supportive approach. It's the client sets the goals and we help them stay accountable and achieve them little bits over time. So I went through that process 4 years ago, really changed kind of my life and how I, take care of myself. So instead of hiring another health coach in October, I decided, why not enroll in this health coaching program? So I'm at the end of my year-long training. It started in January through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And I didn't get into it to become a health coach. I did it to just really learn why do I drink the kombucha? Why do I add leafy dark greens to my food? What's the science behind it? And so as I've been learning and making changes, I've really transformed my health again, and realized, wow, every person really needs us, especially healthcare providers. We have been through the ringer through this pandemic. It was hard to be a healthcare provider before the pandemic. It has been even more challenging. So I have become very passionate about sharing this information, helping people make transformations in their lives. I started Katie Cooper Wellness, private practice, as well as trying to start a program through my current employer. So I will talk to you a little bit about that program. So this is a group wellness program because, as you can imagine, a private practice of 2,500 clinicians does not want to pay for every clinician to have a private health coach. That would be very expensive. So we're trying this group wellness program. So it really to help employee work-life balance and also help with retention. Every industry is having difficulties with retention right now, healthcare included. We've seen this in our company. And so this was one of the ways we were trying to improve the lives of our employees and help them feel like they can do their jobs well. So the objectives of this program are to help each participant achieve personalized goals related to their health and wellness, support participants in making healthy changes, improve energy level, work-life balance, and health. And the why: we all live busy, stressful lives. Healthcare workers in general have higher rates of stress, anxiety, and burnout. And we want to provide support and resources to our employees. So the group topics, this is so the pilot is ongoing right now. I'm about halfway through it. So we've done the first 3 sessions. So we started talking about the stress cycle. How do we end that using movement? How can we use nutrition to support the mind and body? In the next session, we're talking about sleep and the vagus nerve, and then finding balance, and then kind of how do we put this all together? The sessions are early in the morning, kind of before the workday starts. So 7:30 in the morning, we meet for 50 minutes. And it's over the course of 3 months. So we're meeting about every 2 weeks. So the session starts with me kind of presenting the topic of the day for about 15 minutes. Then we have a discussion about that topic. People ask questions. We talk about, what kind of changes they might make based on the information I gave them. And then we set goals. And we're talking about small goals, like I'm going to drink a glass of water every morning before I eat breakfast this week. Or I'm going to try and walk the dog for 10 minutes when I get home from work to reduce my stress. So things that are achievable, but also make a difference in those 2 weeks. We discuss the participants' successes and challenges between, how they did between sessions. I try and make it super interactive. We use Microsoft Teams, so it's similar to Zoom. I can share my screen. We did a seated yoga class one day as part of it. And then we have a group's Teams chat between sessions to kind of support each other, share resources. We have ongoing recipe exchange, different resources for dietary changes that people are making, sharing our wins between sessions. So after the first 3 sessions, what we've seen is our productivity on average has improved from 88% to 100%, over 100%, which is great because in our company, if you don't meet your productivity, you might have to use your PTO or supplement that lost time. And I'd rather use my PTO for vacation and not to make up for not being able to see as many clients. And then we track how long it takes someone to sign their treatment note from when the note is opened to when it is signed. So the note the time to sign notes improved from almost a day and a half to a little over a day. And this change might not seem significant, but when I presented this to leadership last week, they were super excited to see these changes after only 3 sessions. And honestly, it was only about 6 weeks. I mean, that's not a lot of time to make a lot of change like this. So it was pretty exciting. The subjective results are what I really love. So one participant talked about how she's been completing more of her notes during her sessions. She comes home and walks her dog and she's just feeling less stress overall. And that participant used to take 3 days to sign a note. And now she is down to, I think, a day and a half That's a huge change. And it takes a lot of energy to be able to do that. So she's taking care of herself now and having the energy to do more of her work at work instead of at home. Another participant reported that she's doing a yoga routine nightly and sleeping better. We all know when we sleep better, we can do a better job in our daily lives. Another participant stated that she's been able to stick to dietary changes that she's literally been trying to do for years. And now a lot of her symptoms have improved. She's sleeping better. She has better energy. So very exciting progress. I have 11 participants total. 9 are actively participating. So that's pretty good for a pilot test of this size. I didn't want the group to be too big. I was aiming for 10. So I'm happy where we are. So I wanted to give you a sense of kind of what we do in these sessions and also have something for you to take away today. So this is the Circle of Life tool. So this is something that we call primary food. So when we're looking to improve our work-life balance, we have to look at all of the things in our environment, the people we are with, the things that we do that nourish us. So these are the 12 areas that we kind of focus on. You can have the healthiest diet, you can exercise every day, but if you're in a toxic relationship, if you're unhappy with your finances, if you're not having enough joy in your life, you're not going to feel healthy, you're not going to feel balanced. So what we're going to do is I'm going to share this. Oh, thank you, Julie, for that. I didn't even see that. Let me see if I can do this.
I didn't do anything. Do you want me to do something?
I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. I'm going to give you 2 options for doing this Circle of Life tool. I just lost my thing here. Okay. Sorry, I'm really just not very good at Zoom, but okay. So this is a PDF. I think I shared it. And there's also a web page you can go to. So I want you to take a minute. You can go to this link and do your Circle of Life. It's an interactive tool. You're going to put the dot on each of the 12 items, the 12 primary food areas. Closer to the center means you're unsatisfied with them. Closer to the outside means that you feel like you're doing great in that area. And then you're going to see it, you'll click on Show Me My Circle of Life, and it will come up with kind of what areas you're doing well with. And I'm going to share mine. So, okay. So this is my Circle of Life. And you can see that some areas I'm doing great with, like my home cooking. I cook every night. I feel like my career is going in a great direction right now. My health is improving. And then I have some areas that I'm not as satisfied with. Physical activity, I hurt my shoulder. I can't do my yoga. I'm working on that. Social life, just not really important to me right now, but also not where I want it to be. So the things that in your circle might not be on the outside, but maybe they're not a high priority for you. So if anybody wants to share in the chat what your maybe 1 or 2 areas that you feel satisfied in, I'd love to see kind of where everybody's at. Education and home cooking, good. Relationships, excellent. Yeah, so these are like your strong areas, the things that you can kind of depend upon. And career, yeah, good. And then let's look at, if anybody wants to share 1 or 2 areas that maybe you want to work on that aren't satisfying right now. Family life, yes. And physical activity. Yeah. Finances, physical activity. Yeah. Great. So, when you're looking at where to start, those are the things I would start with. That's what I would focus on to start. Great. Thanks for sharing, everybody. So I want to talk a little bit. So now that you kind of know where to focus on, let's talk a little bit about stress, because we all experience a lot of stress. And I want to give you some tools for how to kind of end your stress cycle. So the stress cycle is when the body perceives stress and activates the HPA axis. So the HPA axis is your hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenals. And the stress response is meant to allow your body to fight or freeze or flight, get out. And that's kind of evolutionarily speaking why we have this response. Because, when we were cavemen and, early on, we had predators. We had to get away. We had to save ourselves, protect ourselves. So when this response happens, we get an increase in glucose in the bloodstream, which helps our muscles react. We reduce energy and resources to digestion and reproduction, because we don't need that when we are fighting or fleeing. And it increases blood pressure. So today, in today's world where we have stressors constantly, day in, day out, this response is really not maladaptive. It's not working for us. We don't need to fight or flee when we're stressing out because of work, family, finances, etc. Unfortunately, the body doesn't know that. So when this stress response is activated multiple times a day, the body really never gets to recover from that initial response. And it increases kind of wear and tear on the body. We have increased blood pressure. We increase fat accumulation around our middle to protect our energy, and also because our digestion isn't working properly. Glucose in the bloodstream leads to insulin resistance, which then leads to diabetes. And we see these chronic conditions occur after years and years of stress that we're not taking care of. So, all that wear and tear reduces our health, also increases our sensitivity to stress. So the next stressor comes along and we just can't deal with it the same way we did the first time, because our body hasn't recovered. So there are a couple ways, easy, quick ways to end the stress cycle, to let your body know that you are safe, that you can rest, digest. So number 1 is movement. So I shared with you, one of my participants, she now takes her dog for a walk every evening. So when we talk about movement to end the stress cycle, we're not talking about running 10 miles as fast as you can or doing a HIIT workout. Those are additional stresses on the body. We're talking about something that's going to calm the nervous system. So taking a walk, doing yoga, maybe dance, something that feels good to you. And everybody's different. Everyone's an individual. So you have to find what works for your body. So finding that routine, and it doesn't need to be an hour-long yoga class. It can be 10, 15 minutes just to let the body relax and say, I'm okay, I am safe. Breathing. We all know breathing is super important, but we don't do enough of that deep, controlled breathing. So this is an example of a type of breathing that's super easy to remember, the box breathing. You breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds. You can do that for 4 or 5 cycles, and it just calms that nervous system. There are lots of different breathing styles out there. You have to find the one that works for you again, but it's for a minute and a half, focusing on your breathing is enough to allow your system to reset. The next one is laughter. And we're not talking about polite social laughter. We are talking about on the floor crying laughter. This was actually a couple of weeks ago. I took my daughters to get their flu shots. They're 2.5 and 6. And I don't know why I thought I could do it myself with both of them. It didn't go well. My daughters ended their stress cycle with crying. I could not cry at the doctor's office. I had to get them home. So when they went to bed, I went on Instagram and found those very silly reels of ridiculous pranks people play on each other. And I just laughed. And my husband thought I was crazy. But, find something that you can just really laugh and relax. And again, you're just telling your system, I'm safe, I'm okay. 20-second hug. This has to be with somebody you truly trust and love and feel safe with, and count it out, because at the end of that 20 seconds, you will feel a whole shift in your system. You can also do a 6-second kiss. So depending on who you're with and what you're comfortable with, that's another option. A good cry. So like I said, my daughters had their good cry and then they reset and they were ready to go. Again, we've all probably experienced that, like ugly cry where you just get it all out and then you're able to kind of move on with your day. That again, just as a way to get that stress out. Creative expression. So painting, knitting, crocheting, whatever it is for you, to kind of just be able to focus on something outside of your mind and body. I actually have a patient, she always comes in with high blood pressure to her session. And I give her the Theraputty for about 5 minutes. She was an art teacher, so this is kind of right up her alley. She makes a couple shapes with it, focuses on it, and her blood pressure comes down right away. Pretty amazing. And then sleep. Which can be hard if you're still in that stress mode. So for some people, sleep doesn't actually work until you reset, but it can be getting a good night solid sleep can be enough to kind of reset the system. All right, so that was like a very quick little intro to what I do as a health coach and with employee work-life balance. Just before we go to Q&A, if you want to connect with me, I'm on Instagram. My Pinterest, I just started. I share a lot of recipes that I love, that are healthy, nutritious, a lot of gluten and dairy free. You can email me, and my website has a couple resources on there as well. So, all right.
Thank you so much, Katie. That was awesome. That was really, really great to hear.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, we're now going to move on to our Q&A session. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself or pop them in the chat. It's a very sort of relaxed portion, so do whatever feels most comfortable for you.
I don't necessarily have a question, but I have a comment, or I guess an observation of just how much I feel like, the occupational therapy lens has informed this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if maybe I'll turn it into a question if you can speak to that a little bit, kind of your preparation as an OT and what else have you gained in that health coaching, right? And kind of what are you drawing from? Because I see so much of, we talk about balance and engaging in meaningful occupation, and I'm just, I don't know, it's interesting. It seems to lend itself really well and also obviously take it further. So you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I think when I was looking at the program to enroll in, I was like, this really is occupational therapy, but as an occupational therapist, I don't always get the time to dive into these issues with my patients the way I would like. So also you have these patients who have been chronically ill for years and years and years. My vision is that we can kind of get to people earlier. and work more on the wellness side before they get to these chronic conditions. Working with the geriatric population, my vision is having a whole nother wellness program for the healthy older adults to hopefully prevent them from needing the services that they need when I see them under Medicare eventually. But learning how to coach, I mean, I've coached people for years and years as a leader, but now learning specific coaching tools, it has helped me kind of frame my questions to my patients also and get more out of them when I'm working with them. So that has been really interesting as well. I didn't really think I would learn that much about how to coach, but it's really about asking the right questions and the meaningful questions that get people to open up about the right areas. So I actually have these conversations with my patients all the time. I have one patient in particular, she's very worried about her memory. She's pretty young. She's had some significant health issues. And we were talking about nutrition for her brain, and she lives in an assisted living right now. And how can she choose the correct meals at, breakfast, lunch, and dinner that are going to support her health, and when she's not doing the cooking. And, so it's been a really interesting process to kind of delve into those areas a little bit more than I did before.
I have a quick question, just in terms of like finding the participants in your group right now. Did you have an easy time with that? Did you find that like this really was a desire of most people, or did you sort of have to do any convincing to get people to sign up?
That's a great question. So for the pilot test, we chose 2 regions. So there were about 80 clinicians who were invited to participate. And I wasn't really sure how it was going to go. I definitely have more people interested than participated because the time of day didn't work out, or they just couldn't fit it in their schedules right now. So I think if I was able to offer a couple different options for days of times, I'd have more participants. But it was pretty easy to get those 11 people.
I have a question that may bore everybody, but I'm really curious about kind of if you can clarify how you targeted and are measuring the outcomes that you talked about.
So we collect all of our data through a system called Click. So it populates all the data, and then I was able to kind of go in and select the different points that I wanted to look at and measure. So it's pretty easy because we already have that information that we collect, and then we use it for kind of our employee yearly discussions, and also just kind of working on it, initiatives within the practice. So that part was easy to get the data, but I'm so glad that we have it because it shows the change, which is really nice. Because otherwise, I did do a pre-survey, and I did a stress scale, which I forgot to include. So I had everyone rate their perceived stress, and it's a standardized tool, and everybody was in low to moderate stress. So 8 people were moderate, or was it 7 were moderate and 2 were low. So kind of using that also. So when we're done, I'll do it again, and hopefully the stress levels have gone down as well.
I was actually thinking the same thing, Jenna, so I'm glad you asked it. But Katie, I'll push you to think about, this would be an amazing research study, right? Since you have the ability to collect data. And I wonder if it's something, you're nodding your head, so maybe you're thinking about that for the future, but to actually present, publish, and really look at those outcome measures. So it's great.
Yeah, definitely on my mind. I'm hoping that if I get approval to expand this program next year, that I'll be able to use one of those groups to do like a formal research study. Yeah.
I'll ask another question because I can. I haven't had Katie Cooper in class in a long time, so I'll ask you questions. What do you think has been the biggest challenge for you in launching this? I mean, we were talking about program development now, right? Which anybody can do, and this happens to be one topic, but there's so many avenues for program development in OT, and it's not without its challenges. So I'm wondering, we're talking about some of the rewards of, you know, hearing their subjective comments and seeing these improvements. I mean, that's the amazing piece of it, but I'm curious to hear your experience of challenges or surprises even.
I would say like getting leadership on board. I work for a great company, and we have like a whole innovation committee, which is kind of where I started with this project. And they're very open to trying things. And so everyone, like all my managers, everyone I've talked to has been like, yes, we need this. This is great. But then I presented to HR and they put the brakes on very fast. This is too expensive. How are we going to scale it? I'm like, I'm not talking about that. I just want to try it. Like, let me try it. And then we can figure out how we do it. So that still is a challenge. I worked around that by just getting enough leadership to support me. And I use some of my, the hours I'm given to do my leadership role. I use some of that to do this pilot program because they are not ready to pay me extra to do this program. Hopefully the results will be compelling enough to allow them to pay me next year to expand the program.
And that's why that outcome measurement piece is so important, right? Because you can translate that to dollars for them and money saved, right? I mean, these numbers of productivity, that translates to a bottom line for a company, and that's what gets them to listen. We don't necessarily want to think that's not what motivates us, right? But that is what motivates companies, even companies in the business of healthcare, which is for helping people and altruistic. They still have a bottom line. And so I think it's fantastic that you're able to document these changes so that you really can show a return on investment in a program. Hey, you pay me this and look what I'm going to save your company. So that's great.
Yeah. And on top of that, right, saving money, right, especially and keeping their employees healthy and well and kind of, multiple purposes.
I help with orientation every month for my team, and it is countless hours. Just thinking about how much it takes to onboard somebody, it would be so much more efficient to keep them. And I hope that this kind of demonstrates that.
And on the human side, it's trying for employees to turn over in places, and it's also better for your clients when they have a more stable workforce. So yeah, that retention piece is another. I wonder, have you thought about how you'll measure that? I mean, I know you need more long-term for the retention component, but have you thought of outcome measures for that?
So we have data to measure retention. I don't have access to it, but they can measure it for me at this point. I think part of my post survey might include some retention questions. I have to figure out how to frame those appropriately. But yeah, I think hopefully, out of everybody on my group, who's participating, I don't think there are any retention issues right now. But I mean, I've lost people on my team this year that I thought would never leave. So it's hard to know when somebody's going to leave beforehand. I think offering these programs is a way to show employees that we care about them and we want them to be happy and healthy. And is another way to demonstrate why you should stay with a company.
This is not so much a question, but kind of an observation. I don't know. I've just been, as you've been speaking and explaining this amazing program, it occurred to me, as you mentioned at the beginning, right, how this in large part stemmed from your own personal experience and how powerful experiential knowledge is as occupational therapy practitioners, and realizing, hey, if I'm, experiencing this, I may notice it more in other people, that we may not have been attuned to otherwise, right? And so not assuming that other people are necessarily experiencing the same thing, but how it sounds like it kind of broadened your scope of awareness of like, hey, oh wow, this may be an issue with other folks, and then can look into it, and identify that. So how, we come into our work not just as, professionals with textbook knowledge, but the value of coming in as humans with real life experiences and challenges to navigate.
Mhm. Absolutely. And I've started to identify maybe some coworkers who are having more difficulty, maybe showing signs of burnout, and being able to have those open conversations with them. Hey, I've been there. I, struggled with this last year. Here are some things I did. Can I help you? And I think that's one of the benefits of being in leadership. I can have those conversations with people. I have a better overview of kind of how people are doing, and start to have those conversations earlier on. And my team knows that I'm very open about how I have done. And I've told them, I struggled last year, and, want them to be open to coming and receiving help if they need it.
I was thinking about that a little bit, Katie, like, is it, how do you get to the people who are in the high stress category, right? You had moderate and low stress. You have people who you're sort of identifying as not real retention risks. How do you get to those people who are like too burned out to do a sign up for one more thing?
Yeah, that's been challenging. Part of being a health coach is knowing that not everybody's ready to make changes and to meet people where they are. So, I've had clients in my private practice side of things, who they want to make changes, but they're just not ready. So just knowing that we're there, that I'm here when they're ready. My plan is not just offering this group, but providing like consistent messaging. So we have like a monthly newsletter. I plan to have like a little wellness corner, like a quick tip in there. I plan to have, maybe some emails that go out on a regular basis with just small things that people can start doing, because it is overwhelming when you feel so terrible and like you have no energy and you're just so stressed. It's like, I don't even know where to start. So I think just little things here and there, reminders that you can just try these small things. And when you're ready, we have this group, and you can join the group. So hopefully that will help those individuals who are in that higher category.
I have a quick question. Apologies for disappearing earlier. I seem to have the Zoom curse Rita had last week during field work. I know I see her on here, everything disappeared, but I'm back. And I have a question. I know a lot of students are on the call tonight. And so I was wondering if you had any advice for students, especially as we become new practitioners. Everyone talks about how stressful and overwhelming those first few years of practice can be. So do you have any advice on how to implement some of these strategies maybe before we get to the point of burnout, sort of that like upstream prevention?
Yes. First off, I want to tell everybody, you will never feel like you know what you're doing. Like I still, as a therapist, question myself. I was talking to my colleague the other day and I was like, I don't know what I should do with this person. She's like, I know, I'm in the same boat. And we've both been practitioners for over 10 years. So you're always going to feel like there's more to learn. There's more to do. Try not to let that overwhelm you. I know it's hard in the beginning. I think the other thing is, looking at your circle of life, like where do you have supports? What are your strong areas? And how can you take advantage of your free time? So for me, I know that instead of watching an hour of TV, that I should probably sit and read a book. That to me is more relaxing. Everyone's different. So finding what works for you. How are you going to take care of your body and your mind, and start practicing that early? You know, work is always going to be there. Like Julie said earlier, work's always going to be there. How do you use your time outside of work so that your mind is not always with your career? Because it could be. I mean, we're all caring people. We got into this profession to help people, and it's very easy to go home and think about your patients all night long. So find ways to turn that off and focus on things that are meaningful to you. And life is always changing. So things that work for you now are not going to work for you in 5 years. I've had to adjust as I've moved, as I've had children, as my type of work has changed. So playing around with how you're using your time. And then also, I always come back to, what are you feeding your body to kind of take care of yourself? Trying to reduce processed foods, sugar, caffeine, and giving your body what it needs to work efficiently and effectively and take care of itself, because that can be a huge component as well for people.
Thank you so much. That's helpful to definitely start working on those habits now and hopefully carry those into practice. We have time for a few more questions. So just as a reminder, feel free to pop those in the chat or unmute yourself if anything comes to you.
As students, do you all feel like you struggle with kind of work being schoolwork and life? Do you have a good balance now, or is that challenging?
I can't speak for everyone on the Zoom, but I would definitely say challenging. I know, especially I see like other seniors on the Zoom, and it can be a lot, and then you find yourself just like working all day long, um, and it's funny because we're in like the OT curriculum and we're always talking about these ways to, like better your mind, better your body, and taking those times. And I feel like I know myself, I fall into the bad habits of not doing that. And I think a lot of my friends and classmates may agree with that, of just like getting into that routine of like work and schoolwork is everything right now. Yeah, to answer your question. But yeah.
So one tip I have is schedule it in your like write it in your planner, or put it in your, I like a written planner, but put it in your phone. And it doesn't have to be a lot of time. You know, for me, if I can get 5 minutes in my morning with a glass of water or a cup of tea and some quiet, I feel like I have a handle on my day. And at the end of the day, 10 minutes sitting, reading, or knitting, or stretching, doing something for myself. Again, that's 15 minutes over the whole course of my day some days, if it's been one of those days. But it's something to kind of reset and to remind yourself, I am taking care of myself. The other thing that I see a lot of people doing is like, how do you frame self-care? Self-care doesn't mean getting a massage and your nails done. It can be something simple, like drinking a cup of tea with your friend. Like it doesn't have to be something you're putting money towards or investing a lot of time in. It can be simple things that just feed your body and your soul. So kind of reframing also What is that for you? And make a list, have a list of 5 or 10 activities that you can do quickly. Take a walk around the quad, something that is easy, free, and quick. That is just, you're a reminder to yourself, I'm taking care of myself today, and this is how I'm doing it.
I love that. I know I always joke, like, if it's on the Google Calendar, it's happening. So like
Yeah, it's
physically
true.
scheduling in those times is
Yeah.
really helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got something to follow up on that with. So you've really got my mind going on this. And the thing that I struggle with most, and I'm hoping, or not, maybe not hoping, but thinking that maybe students and others may relate to it too, is like, I'm all about wanting to, take those little chunks of time and reallocate them for self-care or something to kind of feed, like you're saying, my mind and my body and my soul. But then I always get caught on the fact that, like, there's only 24 hours in the day. So in my head, if I do that little bit, I have to take it away from something else. So then that leads me to think, like, okay, try to kind of reframe my mind around, many of us are perfectionistic or are high achievers and that type of thing, and being okay with not being, great at everything at the same time. So I don't know if you have any kind of thoughts about that way of thinking, or any alternative ways to kind of frame that.
Yeah, I am also a recovering perfectionist. And, I think it's those constant reminders to yourself that I'm doing the best I can. Whatever I got accomplished today was enough. And I think also adding to your to-do list, take care of myself. So it's something that is a priority, and moving it higher up on that list, because if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't do our jobs. We can't take care of others. We can't live effectively. So it's a battle. It's a constant battle. I came in earlier today and I was like, I have 500 things to do and I'm so overwhelmed. I don't even know where to start. So I had to kind of just take a step back and kind of reframe and figure out, okay, where am I going to start? And also, what am I going to do? Like, I know at the end of my day, in a few minutes, like, I'm done. I'm not opening my computer. I am going to sit on the couch. I'm going to watch football. I am done for the day. And that's how I'm going to take care of myself today. So it's just kind of reframing and having that kind of constant check-in with yourself. It's so hard though.
I think we have time for like one more question, if anybody has anything that they want to bring forward.
I have another quick question. Sorry, Emma. What would you say for all of our students on here, and also like Jenna and Julie and everyone in the world, of course, is like something you recommend of like when you first wake up in the morning? I know that's like a time that's most stressful for me, as I usually wake up like 20 minutes before I'm running to class. But like, is there I've loved like your whole presentation. I've been making mental notes and everything. And I'm just curious, do you have like a bit of advice or something that's like one thing that takes like a minute or something that you think could really start your day off on the right foot? Because I know for me, when I wake up in that hustle, I tend to have like a rougher day, but I don't seem to stop doing it. So I was wondering, because I know a lot of people wake up right before class, like if you had anything that's like 60 seconds, do this. That's also a lot of pressure.
No, drink a glass of water.
Okay.
Seriously. We're all dehydrated. Nobody drinks enough water. It gets your digestion going in the morning, kind of gets the body going, rehydrate after the night. That's my number one. And also, sleep is super important, but also you want to give yourself enough time so that you don't start off your day super stressed out. So trying to maybe shift going to bed 15 minutes earlier so you can get up 15 minutes earlier the next day and just have a calmer start to your day. It doesn't have to be a lot, but prioritize that sleep and have that glass of water in the morning.
I think that's wonderful advice to leave off on. It's the little things. Just drink water. It can be as simple as that sometimes. So thank you so much. It's almost 8 o'clock, so I want to respect everyone's time. But thank you so much, Katie, for being here. Your company is so lucky to have someone like you that is making these programs happen, and we are so lucky to have you come and speak with us tonight. And we are so grateful for your time. So if anyone has any questions for Katie going forward, again, you can feel free to send them to any of us on the planning committee and we can get those to her. This video will be uploaded on the Canvas site, so if you wanted to rewatch it, or if you know someone that couldn't make it tonight that might be interested, you could direct them that way. And we will have another speaker series next month, November 17th, I think is the date. Somewhere in there. It's right before November break, but you will get lots of emails from us before then, so don't worry. But thank you again all so much for coming tonight, and thank you again, Katie.
Thank you, Katie.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
You make
Thank
us
you.
proud. Yes. So good
Thank
to
you.
see you.
You too.
Right. Stop the recording.